go for the classes of the day. I went to my room and instead of staying there, I should have stayed there. It was too late to get a leave letter, and my calculation was, like I told you, for the reasons I mentioned, I won't get caught. So there's no need of a leave letter. I sat in my room for some time. Obviously, I was not really unwell, so I didn't get sleep. I lay down, didn't get sleep. I said, Swami would have finished interview. Let me go and steal a darshan. I very foolishly thought I'll stay in the background. I'll see Swami. Swami won't see me. That doesn't happen. So I went, and there were not too many people around. All the students had gone. There were a few elders and guests and VIPs and such people who were there. And then there were some students who were doing their post-graduation. In those days, the Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning was not born. So when students finished their undergraduation, those of the students who were allowed to stay back and do their post-graduation, the post-graduation would be in Bangalore. They would be students of Bangalore University. So some of them would go, some of them wouldn't go, they wouldn't have classes, they wouldn't have sessions. So some of them who hadn't gone to the city that day for their classes were around. So I sat on one of those benches, and in a few minutes the interview got over and Swami came out. He came out and went again all the way outside. He wanted to see some group which was there. So he went out and after a few minutes came back. As he came back, again we all stood up and I went and stood there under those Ashoka trees. I was standing there, I was not moving all the way forward, hoping that Swami really won't see me, but there was no way, I was not hiding. He would have seen me, but I didn't want to make myself prominent. But as he walked past, he suddenly looked at me and walked towards me. And as he came closer to me, he asked me, "Aaj college nahi gaya?" Those days he was speaking to me in Hindi. I hadn't picked up enough Telugu, so I would speak to Swami in Hindi, and Swami would speak to me in Hindi or a mixture of Hindi and English. So he asked me, "Aaj college nahi gaya?" I said, "No, Swami." I shook my head. I didn't know what else to say. I was fumbling for an answer. So he signaled, gesticulated and said, "Why?" with his hand. So I just mumbled and said, "Swami, I'm not feeling well."
So just dropped. He'll be joining back. We request everybody to just be patient. Okay, so it's back.
Yeah, so as I said I'm not feeling well. So as I said I'm not well, I was standing like this, and he came close to me and like his out. So I was just dropping my hands. I was in this folded hands position. I was dropping my hand, got hold of my right hand, and then he's like, you catch somebody's hand and you feel the pulse. I don't know if you can see in the video. And then he turned that side, and to my horror, I saw the warden of the hostel standing there. He had appeared, I don't know from where, and he was standing there. And Swami looked towards him. He understood that Swami was calling him, and he came running close to where both Swami and me were standing. I was really horrified because facing Swami was one thing. Facing the warden when you're bunking college is a totally different cup of tea. So here was Swami catching hold of my hand, and then as the warden came nearby, Swami started, "This boy is sick." So the warden said, "Is it, Swami?" "Yes." "What kind of a warden you are?" I felt very happy now. Swami is scolding the warden. "What kind of a warden you are? This boy is sick." "You don't know he's sick?" "No, Swami, I don't know." "What kind of a warden you are? You don't even know that one of the boys in the hostel is sick?" "Oh, Swami, nobody told me." "Is it the job of people who are sick to come and tell you? As warden, you should know that they are sick. You should take care of them. How are you taking care of them?" Of course, much later I realized that this was a mock scolding. Some kind of a glance had been exchanged between Swami and the warden, and the warden understood what was happening and he played along. So he said, Swami, I really didn't know. I made a big mistake. And then Swami said, yeah, see, he is sick. And Swami again pretended to feel my pulse. He was actually, his hand was as if he was feeling my pulse. And so then, in the same mock concern, the warden was asking Swami, Swami, how much is his temperature? Swami said, he's got temperature. How much is the temperature? 98.4 was the answer. Swami, in full seriousness, said 98.4 and he was holding my hand, he dropped it. So when he said 98.4, the warden started laughing and then it hit me what Swami really meant. So I also smiled. And as he dropped my hand, he said very, very slowly, never, aisa kabhi nahi karna. Meaning he understood that I was bunking college. But in a very nice way, he told me, and the way in which he told me, his tone was, that was something which we all have to learn. I still haven't learned. There was a smile in his face. There was love in his voice, but his tone was so serious that after that, 3 more years of my college life in Vrindavan, I didn't miss a single class or get tempted to come for darshan when there was class. If there was a free period, yes, we would all come for darshan, and Swami was also accepting that. But for the rest of my life as a student, I did not miss a single class. So here was Swami at a very human level, showing a lot of love, showing a lot of concern, keeping a smiling face. In fact, even after that, I wasn't scared of him. But the tone with which he told me that I should never do like that was so serious that I never contemplated bunking a class once again. In fact, I was not scared of Swami, I was scared of the warden. So after that incident, for the next 3-4 days, I avoided him completely. Because I could face Swami. I was not sure whether I would get a firing from the warden, I would be questioned. So if I would see him in the hostel going on A floor, if I was coming that side, I would climb up the steps, climb up to B floor, and then come down back to A floor. So I did that for 3-4 days. And after about 4 days, I just happened to run into him. I couldn't avoid him. I didn't realize that he was coming, and I was coming in the opposite direction, so I ran into him. So that was the kind of fear that I had, not of Swami. Another incident, since I'm talking of Swami correcting in small things, let me mention another incident. This was many, many years later, sometime in the late 90s or mid 90s. I was picking up Telugu because staying around Swami, you always hear Swami's Telugu and you pick up Telugu and you want to talk in Telugu. So since I was picking up Telugu, Swami would still talk to me in Hindi or a mixture of Hindi and English. So on one such occasion, Swami was talking to me and initially I was answering in Hindi. The conversation continued for a few more minutes and Swami continued to talk in Hindi or a mix of Hindi and English. But I slowly started replying to Swami in Telugu. So instead of saying yes Swami or ha Swami or okay Swami, I started in my newly learned Telugu, Avunu Swami, Telsu Swami. And I started those monosyllable answers which you can give when you've just started learning Telugu. So I was giving those one-word answers. Slowly, Swami started moving on to more Telugu, but then I was still able to catch that Telugu. So I also continued. After a few minutes, Swami was going in full-fledged Telugu, and it suddenly dawned on me that forget my nodding my head and my saying, Avunu Swami, I was not understanding what Swami was saying. I was just not understanding what Swami was saying. And here was Swami he was not making small talk. He was not chatting with me. It was not even some spiritual talk. He was actually giving me instructions for some work. So you can understand what would happen if I had missed those instructions. So I tried to shake my head, but Swami continued. I tried to keep a baffled expression, a knowingly baffled expression on my face, because there was only Swami and me, and Swami was looking at me. So I was hoping that seeing that baffled expression, because I didn't know what to say, seeing that baffled expression in my face, Swami may stop. But Swami continued. Finally, I had to interrupt Swami, and I said, Swami, I didn't understand what Swami. So this time I was very careful. I spoke in English so that I'm very, very clear. I said, Swami, I didn't understand what Swami was saying. Swami didn't wait for my sentence to complete. I was saying, Swami, I didn't understand what Swami was saying. Just as I completed this statement, pat came the reply. I was talking to you in Hindi. You wanted to show off your Telugu. And these were the words he used. Show off your Telugu. So here was Swami who was teaching many lessons in this. You can't hide from Swami. You can't make a pretense. People try to talk to Swami in Telugu, thinking they're trying to impress Swami. Of course, you learn Telugu because very often you miss the nuances of the conversation that is happening around you when Swami speaks in Telugu. That's what makes you learn Telugu when Swami was there. But pretenses don't work. You can't try and get away by, you can't impress Swami. The other thing that this incident taught me was the complete focus that Swami has, and that is something which I have learned. Definitely we can't do it the way Swami would do it, but I've tried to do it and it gives amazing results. Swami was always so focused on what he was doing. So when he was talking to me, he was not only so focused on what he was trying to tell me, he was also focused on the fact that he could make out that I am not understanding. He could make out that I am trying to show off my Telugu. He was so focused. And you could see that focus. You could see it even in videos. And those of you who've seen Swami giving darshan, especially in the days when Swami used to walk around and give darshan, he was so focused. He would look at a devotee, talk to a devotee, only that devotee existed for those few seconds. It could be 10 seconds, it could be 30 seconds, it could be 2 minutes. And many of us have experienced that. We are sitting on this side, not the devotee side. We are sitting along with the students. We are sitting in the portico. And Swami would go and talk to one of us. We would think that Swami existed only for us, for that 30 seconds or 2 minutes or 4 minutes that he is spending with us. Swami existed only for us and no one else mattered. He would give his all. He would be focused. Whereas very often when we are talking or when we are doing things, we are distracted. We think we are multitasking. The modern age gives a premium on multitasking. A person who can multitask is believed to be a superhuman being. And the more you can multitask, the more efficient you think you are. You're supposed to be even a greater, a more superhuman being. Perhaps we've understood multitasking in a wrong way. Swami used to be so focused. And you could see sometimes when he's coming for darshan, he's looking for someone. And he finds that person, he has a message for him. He has decided that he's going to give vibhuti that day. He's going to solve his distress. He's going to give him some instructions. He's going to answer his prayers. He's so focused that he's looking for that person and is not going to be distracted. Someone else is trying to offer him a letter at that time, he'll brush it aside. He'll brush it aside not because he wants he wants to reject that other person. He is brushing it aside because he's so focused that he's looking for the person to whom he wants to speak or bless or whatever. That focus is something which we all need to cultivate, because we've had not only Swami of course tells us, live in the present is omnipresent. But then we've had everyone, including the new age gurus, the management gurus, who talk about focus, who talk about being concentrated, who talk about living in the present. And that was something which Swami taught right through all his actions, all throughout his life. If I can digress, if I'm permitted to digress from the questions that you have posed to me, when I was telling you about the Telugu incident, I was reminded of another incident which happened. So somebody, in fact, messaged me in the chat box saying, "Sir, I didn't know that you knew Telugu." So that reminds me of another incident which happened very, very early in my life as a student. And this again concerns language. So I was not even 1 year old in the college. And obviously I didn't know any Telugu. When Swami would speak, we knew that it is Telugu. That was my state. In fact, my friends used to make fun of me. So somebody would start in Telugu. The next guy would continue in Tamil. The third guy would speak in Kannada. And then they would ask me to guess which language it was. And believe it or not, if three people have spoken in three languages, I would guess the fourth one. If they've spoken in Telugu, Tamil and Kannada and asked me to guess, I'll say, "Hey, you guys are speaking in Malayalam." I couldn't even make out that they had switched languages. Because then I had come down from Bombay here. Especially in those days, everything down south here was everyone down south here was a Madrasi. The only thing we knew about south are those idlis and masala dosas that we would eat. So while I knew theoretically that these four languages existed, I couldn't make out the difference between these four languages. So one day we were in a room which was called the safe room inside the old bungalow. So the safe room, it was called the safe room because I believe that when Swami took over this bungalow, he acquired this bungalow in the early 1960s from the Gogineni family. And when he acquired this bungalow, there was this room with a huge metal safe. I suppose that royal family needed that huge metal safe to keep all their precious belongings. But the metal safe was so big that it cannot go out of any of the doors. I remember when the old bungalow was demolished and Trai Brindavan was built, after the bungalow was demolished, they lifted the safe out. There was no way they could have moved the safe out when the bungalow was still there because it wouldn't go through any door. So I don't know how it was put inside, or was the room also built after the safe was put. So because of that huge safe lying in a corner, we all used to, at least students, we all used to call it the safe room. So Swami used to sit there and, very few people, the teachers, even I think in the teachers, the senior teachers and some of these people who used to do their post-graduation in Bangalore, some of these people would be allowed inside. Some select guests would be allowed inside. But this was holidays time, so there were very few of us. So all of us would troop into that safe room when Swami would go there. So there must have been about 15-20 of us. It was the holidays time. And it so happened that next to me was Professor Nanjundaya standing. And then Swami was sitting there and Swami strikes a conversation with me, starts asking me the usual innocuous questions that he asks. What's your name? From where do you come? So he starts asking me those questions in Hindi, and I'm answering in Hindi, or a mix of Hindi and English. And then he keeps talking to Professor Nanjundaya. So he talks to me, asks me a question, then says something to Professor Nanjundaya, again asks me some question, says something to Professor Nanjundaya, makes a comment. This was going on. So he kept asking me, you are a student, from where do you come? What are you studying? So my answer was, I'm doing my BCom. Fine. What are your subjects? What subjects do you like? I said, I like accounts. Then he turns to Professor Nanjundaya and now talks to him in English. asking him, do you teach him accounts? Is he your student? Yes, Swami, he is my student. He also replies in English. All this time, the conversation between Swami and me was in Hindi or a mix of Hindi and English. The conversation between Swami and Professor Nanjundaya was in Telugu. But now suddenly, in hindsight, I can say all this. Now suddenly Swami asks him, is he your student? And Nanjundaya says, yes, Swami. What do you teach him? Swami, I teach him accounts. Swami turns to me, is he your teacher? Yes. Does he take classes for you? Yes, Swami, he takes class. How are you in accounts? I always used to be good in accounts. It might sound boastful, but even in those days, I used to believe, I don't know how many others will agree, but I used to believe that even in a class test, if I don't get 20 out of 20 or 50 out of 50, there's something wrong with the question paper or the teacher. So I sincerely believed that. So I said, Swami, I'm good. And it used to be that most of the time, 9 out of 10, I will get 20 out of 20 or 50 out of 50 or 100 out of 100. A rare occasion, yes, I would get 49 out of 50 or 99 out of 100. Maybe 98 out of 100. So I said, Swami, I like accounts and I'm good at, very enthusiastically, I said, Swami, I'm good at accounts. So Swami asks Professor Nanjundaya, is he says he's a good student. Professor Nanjundaya wrinkles his face, kind of doesn't answer. Swami repeats the question. No, Swami, I don't think so. But he says he's a good student. Maybe, Swami, sometimes. The Swami turns to me and says, see what your teacher is saying. There's no answer I can give. I'm folding my hands are already shaking. Then, but he says he's a good student. No, Swami, I don't think so. Did you have any exams or tests? Yes, Swami. So I start off. Yes, Swami, we had a test only last week. How much you got out of the test in the test? Swami, I got 20 out of 20. Before that, Swami, those days we used to have regular tests in class. Every 2 or 3 weeks we would have a test in class. So I said, Swami, previous test also I got 20 out of 20. We had midterm and I got 50 out of 50 in midterm because there was no semester system. We were under Bangalore University annual system. So we would have all these typical class tests and midterm tests and so on. So I said, Swami, midterm test was there. I got 50 out of 50 in the midterm test. So Swami turns to Professor Nanjundaya and says, is it? Professor Nanjundaya says, I don't remember. Now, which teacher will not remember? Every teacher will remember. Even if you don't remember the exact marks, you will definitely remember the exact marks of everybody who's on top and everybody who's at the bottom of the class. You may not remember the exact marks of somebody who's in the middle. So I was wondering what's happening. So Swami turns to me and says, you are sure? I said, Swami, I'm sure. And he turns to Professor Nanjundaya, he says he is sure. Maybe he is sure, but he's actually not a good student. Of course, in the middle, some conversation was happening between Swami and Professor Nanjundaya in Telugu. So he says he has got, but actually he is not a good student. So if he is not a good student, you mean to say he is bluffing? He has not got these marks? Professor Nanjundaya says, maybe he got the marks, I don't really remember. Maybe he's got the marks, I'm not sure. Then Swami says, you mean to say he's bluffing? No, he may not be bluffing. To Swami, who will bluff? So he may not be bluffing. Then how did he get these marks? If he is not bluffing, how did he get these marks? Swami, he must have copied in the exam. Imagine my plight there. Somebody is telling Swami. I mean, you won't want somebody to tell Swami or even your parents that, if you'd made a mistake, usually even today, if a student comes and he is bad and a parent comes and asks, you don't directly attack the student in front of the parent. You tell polite way. and the other person gets the hint, the parent gets the hint. But here was this gentleman totally attacking me, and the beauty was, because I was a class topper, I was one of his favorite students. So here was somebody attacking me in front of Swami, saying this guy is no good a student. I don't know how he's got those marks. I don't remember. Maybe he copied. I was kind of, suppressing their giggles. You could see the smirks on the face. The giggles were suppressed. And Swami also was having a big smile on his face. He was also smirking actually. I had no clue what was happening. Finally, Swami also, when Professor Nanjundaya said, maybe Swami he copied, Swami also burst out giggling, though he controlled himself to some extent. And finally turned to Professor Nanjundaya and asked him and told him, if he was copying, what were you doing as his teacher? How did you allow him to copy? This was one question which stumped him. All the others he promptly answered, enthusiastically answered. But here he was silenced. He didn't answer, and the rest of the room burst out into laughter. Swami also burst out into laughter, got up and walked out of the room. Swami walked out of the front entrance of the room. So everybody else started trooping out of the back entrance of the room to go out. I was wondering what had happened. And everybody is laughing now. Now that Swami has left, everyone is laughing openly and loudly. I was wondering, I asked one or two people, what is it? What's the matter? Why is everyone laughing? What happened? But nobody was answering me because everybody wanted to run out because Swami had gone out. Finally, somebody took pity on me and then explained to me. Actually, what was happening was Swami was carrying on the conversation with me in Hindi English mixture, and Swami was meanwhile telling Professor Nanjundaya, I am going to ask this, you answer like this. So he was supplying him all the questions and all the answers. So he was telling him what to answer also. And then he would ask the same question again in Hindi English, and Professor Nanjundaya would reply in English. So the whole thing was scripted by Swami, except the last question, when Swami turned the tables even on Professor Nanjundaya. But so here was Swami who, he endears himself to you. How does he endear himself to you? So this was a practical joke played by Swami right in my very first year as a student. But actually what this practical joke taught me was, here was Swami, here was someone whom I could love. Here was someone whom I could say is my own. Because after all, who jokes with you? Who pulls your leg? It's only someone who's close to you can afford to pull your leg. And it is that love which he fostered, and you really felt that he was yours. And perhaps it was that which made me stay here. One of the questions which came to me was to talk about my transition from a student to a teacher. Frankly speaking, no transition. It was just that love which made me want to stay here. And I said, I'm in love with this Swami, so I don't want to leave him. That's all that happened. Fortunately or unfortunately, 40 years later, I'm still here. I think I've exhausted my time, and so I'll stop here for today. I really didn't answer the questions which you had put, or the topics that you had really put, but then I just shared whatever thoughts came to me in a very, very unstructured manner. I hope the session has been of some use or some benefit. If we all have enjoyed Swami, we've all recollected our moments with Swami, what we've seen of Swami, what we've experienced of Swami for ourselves and for others around us. I think the purpose of this Parayana session is just to relive that, so that ultimately it is those memories of Swami which, when they are rekindled, we feel more connected with him. Ultimately, it's that love of Swami which we need to awaken in us. Because having lived with Swami, having lived as students in his institute, seen him and experienced him, I know those who have been in the last 9 years probably haven't seen him. Even if they've seen him, they haven't seen him as a student. Okay, but having seen him as a student, I think it is more than all that we've learned from him. It is the love for Swami which also makes sure that whatever we've learned for him, we try and carry out in our life. So with this, I'll stop for today, and I'll thank Shashank, Shanmukha, and the other organizers of this session. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Sai Ram.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And there are other teachers also. So on behalf of everyone here and all other alumni, because Teachers' Day is coming up next week, heartfully and with warm wishes, we would like to wish all of you a very, very happy Teachers' Day for being such inspirations and motivations in our life. Ruchi sir, Nandagopal sir, Anand Kumar sir. It's like all of us, we share really, really sweet and lovely memories of you all in our classrooms, of Swami, of everything over there in Vrindavan, in Parthi, Anantapur, Mudanali, everywhere. And it's an honor reliving the memories and sharing some time with you all. So thank you so much for joining us.
We also have Ruchi sir, student who was our teacher again. Narasimha Rao sir also was part of us. Just to mention that, thank you so much to all the teachers.
Thank you, sir. We'll conclude. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Shanmukha. Sai Ram.
We'll conclude with night prayer. Ishan.
कर चरण कृत